Banks don't sell loans. They sell stress with a very polite smile. Stick with me, because this gets way more expensive than it sounds. Join our Telegram for smarter money tips and even crazier real-life absurdities. Link below. Here's how banks pull off their favorite magic trick. They don't sell you the loan, they sell you the monthly payment. You walk in thinking, "Can I afford this loan?" They flip it into, "Can you afford just $312 a month?" And suddenly you're like, "Oh wow, that's just a couple dinners and a streaming subscription." Easy, comfortable, harmless. But here's the part they don't highlight in bold letters. That small monthly payment is stretched over years, sometimes decades. So that $312 turns into $18,000 for something that originally cost $10,000. It's like buying a burger for $5, but agreeing to pay for it in slow motion until 2032. Banks know exactly what they're doing. Your brain struggles with big totals, but loves manageable chunks. It's the same reason people buy a $1,200 phone because it's only $33 per month. You're not paying less, you're just paying slower, and a lot more. The real question isn't, can you afford the monthly payment? It's, are you okay massively overpaying for convenience? Because the bank is counting on you never asking that second question. Fact 2. Early payments. Mostly go. Nowhere near your loan. You'd think when you start paying off a loan, you're actually paying it off. That would make sense. That would be logical. That would be fair. So naturally, that's not how it works. In the early months, sometimes years, most of your payment goes toward interest, not the actual loan amount. So you're making payments, feeling responsible, maybe even proud, and your debt barely moves. It's like trying to lose weight, going to the gym every day, and the scale just goes, cute. Anyway, same number. Let's say your payment is $500. You might assume it's $500 off your debt. Nope. Maybe $400 goes to interest, and only $100 actually reduces what you owe. So after months of paying, you check your balance and think, wait, why does it still look basically the same? Because the bank gets paid first. Always. This is called amortization, but that's just a fancy word for you thought you were making progress, but we had other plans. By the time you start making real progress on the principal, you've already paid them a huge chunk in interest. It's not a loan, it's a slow, polite financial treadmill. Fact 3. Pre-approved doesn't mean what you think. It means you get that message. Congratulations, you're pre-approved for a loan. And suddenly you feel like a financial VIP. Like the bank looked at your life and said, yes, this person deserves money. But here's the reality. Pre-approved often just means you exist, and we'd like to profit from that. It's marketing, not a commitment. Think of it like a gym saying, you're pre-approved to get in shape. That doesn't mean you're actually fit. It just means they want your membership fee. Once you apply, that pre-approval can quickly turn into higher interest rates, lower loan amounts, extra conditions, or even a straight-up rejection. Because the real approval happens after they dig into your finances. And here's the sneaky part. They send these offers to millions of people, knowing a percentage will bite. It's not about helping you. It's about increasing the odds someone signs. So next time you see pre-approved, don't think, I've been chosen. Think, I've been targeted. Because in banking, you're not the customer. You're the product. Fact 4. Paying it off early. Sometimes that's punished. You'd think paying off a loan early would make the bank proud of you. Like, wow, responsible adult behavior, gold star. Instead, some banks quietly go, cool, that'll be a penalty. Yeah, a prepayment penalty. Because remember, the bank isn't just lending you money. They're planning to make profit from your interest over time. So if you pay it off early, you're basically cutting their movie short right before the expensive scenes. Imagine subscribing to Netflix, watching everything in one weekend, canceling, and Netflix charging you extra for not watching slowly enough. That's the logic. So you hustle, save money, decide to close your loan early, and suddenly there's a fee for being financially responsible. Not every loan has this, but enough do that it's worth checking before signing anything. Because the bank's ideal customer isn't the one who pays fast. It's the one who pays forever, on time, and with interest. You're not winning by finishing early. You're just interrupting their favorite long-term income stream. Fact 5. Variable interest rates equals financial Russian roulette. At first, a variable rate loan sounds kind of exciting. Lower starting rate, smaller payments. Feels like you found a loophole. But what they don't emphasize is this: that rate can change whenever the conditions say so. And conditions is just a polite way of saying things we don't control, but you'll pay for anyway. So you sign up thinking, nice, 4% interest. A year later, it's 7%, then 9%. Then suddenly your payment looks like rent in New York. Nothing in your life changed. Your job didn't improve. Your salary didn't double. But your loan decided it wants more money now. It's like ordering a coffee for $3, and halfway through drinking it, someone walks over and says, actually, that'll be $9 now. And you're already holding the cup. Banks will say, well, it can go down too. Sure, technically. In the same way, a roller coaster could gently glide. But most people don't enjoy financial surprises that show up every few months. A fixed rate is boring. A variable rate is an adventure you didn't really sign up for. Fact 6. Late fees are designed to snowball. Fast missing one payment doesn't just cost you once. It opens the door to a whole chain reaction. First, there's the late fee. Fine. Annoying but manageable. Then interest keeps building. Then your next payment is higher. Then you're slightly behind again. And suddenly, you're in what feels like a subscription you never wanted. It's like tripping on one stair and somehow falling down the entire staircase. Banks structure this perfectly, not aggressively, just efficiently. Because once you're behind, catching up is harder than staying on track in the first place. And here's the part nobody tells you. Even being a few days late can affect your credit score. So not only are you paying more, you're also becoming more expensive to lend to in the future. It's like getting punished twice for the same mistake. Miss a payment once? It's a problem. Miss it twice, and now it's a system working against you. Banks don't need you to fail, but they've built everything in a way where if you do, they profit a little more each time. Fact 7. Insurance add-ons are where things get sneaky. When you're finalizing a loan, everything feels official. Papers, signatures, serious tone. And then comes the casual line. Would you like to add insurance for peace of mind? Sounds responsible, right? Almost noble. But here's what they don't say clearly. That small add-on can significantly increase the total cost of your loan. We're talking hundreds or even thousands extra over time. And most people don't even fully understand what they're buying. It's like being at a car dealership and someone says, for just a little extra, we'll protect you from everything. And you go, sure, sounds safe. But what's actually covered? When does it apply? Will it even help you? That part gets buried in terms and conditions longer than a Netflix series. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's completely unnecessary. But the timing is what makes it powerful. You're already committed. You've mentally accepted the loan. So saying yes feels easier than slowing everything down to question it. It's not pressure, it's momentum, and banks are very, very good at using it. Fact 8. The total cost is hidden in plain sight. Here's the wild part. Banks don't actually hide the total cost of your loan. It's all there, numbers, terms, percentages. But they present it in a way your brain politely ignores. You'll see. Monthly payment, interest rate, loan term. But rarely do you sit down and multiply everything together. Because if you did, you'd have that moment of, wait, I'm paying how much in total? It's like ordering something online for $20. Then at checkout, it's $20 plus shipping plus tax plus fees. And suddenly it's $38, and you just go, well, I'm already here. Same psychology. Banks rely on the fact that most people don't zoom out. They focus on affordability today, not total cost over time. And to be fair, life is busy. Nobody wants to sit with a calculator and question everything. But that's exactly where the real number lives, not in the monthly payment, not in the interest rate, but in the full, slightly uncomfortable total you only see if you decide to actually look. Fact 9. Loan terms are longer. So, you don't notice the pain. Banks love stretching loans over longer periods. 5 years becomes 7, 7 becomes 10. And suddenly you're financing something longer than some marriages last. Why? Because it makes the monthly payment look smaller. Back to that magic trick. You walk in thinking, I can't afford $600 a month. They go, no problem. What about $380? And just like that, you're in. But here's the catch. The longer the term, the more interest you pay. Way more. It's like ordering a pizza and agreeing to pay for it slice by slice, plus interest, for the next decade. Sure, each slice feels cheap, but by the time you're done, you've paid for a whole restaurant. And the worst part? You get used to it. That payment becomes part of your life. Background noise. Like a subscription you forgot you signed up for. Banks don't need to convince you with logic. They just need to make it feel manageable today. Because once you sign, you're not thinking about the total anymore. You're just living with it. Fact 10. Your credit score decides everything. Quietly. Nobody explains this up front. Your credit score is basically your financial reputation and your invisible price tag. Two people walk into a bank. Same job, same income, same loan. One gets 5% interest, the other gets 11%. Why? A three-digit number. And here's the part that feels slightly unfair. You don't always fully control it. Miss a payment years ago? Still there. Closed an old card? Score drops. Used too much of your credit limit? Also bad. It's like having a secret rating system you didn't sign up for, but it decides how expensive your life is. And banks don't sit you down and say, hey, if you fix a few things, you could save thousands. Because the worse your score, the more they earn from higher interest. So they quietly adjust your rate. And you just assume that's normal. It's not personal. It's mathematical. But the difference can cost you more than the thing you're borrowing for. Fact 11. No fee. Loans. Usually just hide the fees. Somewhere else. Anytime you see no fees, your brain goes, nice. Finally, something fair. But banks don't just skip profit. That's not their personality. If there are no upfront fees, there's usually a slightly higher interest rate waiting in the background. It's like a restaurant saying, no delivery fee. But the burger suddenly costs $22 instead of $12. You're still paying, just in a different costume. And the tricky part? It's harder to notice. A one-time fee feels obvious. A slightly higher interest rate feels invisible. Spread over years, that small difference can quietly cost you way more. But you won't feel it all at once, so it doesn't trigger your "this is expensive" alarm. Banks are really good at this, moving costs from places you'd question to places you won't. So when you hear no fees, don't think, I'm saving money. Think, where did they move it? Because they always move it somewhere. Fact 12. Refinancing isn't always the win. It sounds like refinancing is usually sold like a life upgrade. Lower your monthly payment, save money, take control. And sometimes it's actually a great move. But here's the part they don't highlight. You're often resetting the clock. Let's say you've been paying a loan for 3 years. You refinance into a new 7-year term. Congrats! You just turned 4 years left into 7 again. Lower payment? Yes. More total interest over time? Also yes. It's like running halfway through a marathon, then someone offers you water, but moves the finish line further away. Feels good in the moment, costs you in the long run, and banks love it. Because you stay in the system longer, pay more interest, stay predictable. Refinancing isn't bad, but it's not automatically smart either. It depends on the details. But those details? They're usually hiding behind that one attractive number: lower monthly payment. Fact 13. Small print isn't small, it's where the real rules live. Nobody enjoys reading loan agreements. It's pages of text that feel like they were written by a lawyer, for another lawyer. So most people skim, or just trust the summary. Totally normal. And banks know that. That's why the important stuff, the things that actually affect you, often live in that tiny, boring section nobody reads. Things like, when your rate can change, what happens if you miss payments, extra charges, conditions you didn't realize you agreed to. It's like signing up for something and later discovering you accidentally agreed to 12 extra rules you never saw. Not because they were hidden, but because they were buried. There's a difference, and once you sign, those details become very real. The bank doesn't need to trick you. They just need you to be in a hurry, because rush decisions rarely involve reading page 14, paragraph 6. And guess where the surprises usually are? Exactly there. Fact 14. Debt makes you easier to control than you think. This one's less obvious, but powerful. When you have a loan, especially a big one, your financial flexibility shrinks. You think twice about changing jobs, you hesitate to take risks, you avoid anything that might interrupt your income. Because that monthly payment, it doesn't care how your life changes. It's always there. It's like having a quiet pressure in the background of every decision. Not dramatic, just constant. Banks don't say this out loud, of course, but they know something simple. A person with obligations is a predictable person, and predictable customers are profitable customers. You don't skip payments, you don't disappear, you stay in the system. So while you think you're just borrowing money, you're also committing future versions of yourself. And those future decisions? They're now slightly limited. Not because anyone forced you, but because the structure quietly did. Fact 15. The bank always wins, even when you think you did. Here's the big picture nobody says directly. Banks are not designed to lose. If you pay on time, they earn interest. If you pay late, they earn fees. If you refinance, they earn more time. If you default, they still recover something. Every path leads to them getting paid. And you might think, well, I'll just be smart and beat the system. But the system isn't built for one outcome. It's built for all outcomes. That's the difference. It's like playing a game where the house collects money no matter how the round ends. Does that mean loans are bad? Not necessarily, but it does mean this. You should understand the game before you play. Because once you sign, you're not negotiating anymore. You're participating. And the bank? They've been playing this game a lot longer than you have. Fact 16. Minimum payments are a financial trap in disguise. Banks love when you pay the minimum. Like, really love it. Because minimum payments are designed to keep you in debt as long as possible. You see that option and think, okay, tight month. I'll just pay the minimum and catch up later. Sounds reasonable. Feels responsible even. But here's what's actually happening. You're mostly paying interest again. So your balance barely moves. Sometimes it feels like it doesn't move at all. It's like trying to empty a bathtub with a teaspoon while the faucet is still running. And over time, that temporary solution becomes a habit. Month after month, you pay just enough to stay afloat, but never enough to actually get ahead. Banks don't need to force you into long-term debt. They just need to give you an easy way to stay there. And minimum payments? That's the perfect tool. Because they feel safe. They feel manageable. They feel like you're doing something right. But in reality, they're just slowing everything down while the interest keeps quietly stacking up. Fact 17. Missing one detail. Can cost you thousands. Loan agreements are full of little conditions that don't seem important, until they suddenly are. Like auto-pay discounts. Some banks offer a lower interest rate if you set up automatic payments. Sounds great. But if your card expires or your account balance is off 1 month, auto-pay fails. And boom, the rate jumps up. Not by a tiny amount either, sometimes significantly. And nobody calls you to say, hey, just so you know, your loan just got more expensive. You just notice your payment changed. Or worse, you don't notice at all. It's like signing up for a gym discount, missing one visit, and suddenly your membership triples. Technically, it was in the agreement. Realistically, nobody expects it to matter that much. Banks structure deals with these little if this, then that triggers. Most of them sit quietly in the background until one day they don't. And suddenly a small oversight turns into a very expensive lesson. It's not about tricking you. It's about knowing you won't track every tiny detail forever. Because life gets busy, and banks don't forget anything. Fact 18. Debt consolidation can just repackage the problem. Debt consolidation sounds like cleaning your room. All your mess in one place. Simple, organized. And sometimes it really helps. But sometimes it just hides the mess in a nicer box. You take multiple debts, combine them into one loan, get a lower monthly payment, and feel like you fixed everything. But here's what often happens next. Those old credit cards? Still open, still usable, still tempting. So now you've got one big loan and slowly growing new debt on top. It's like cleaning your closet by stuffing everything into a suitcase, then going shopping again. Nothing was actually solved. Banks don't mind this at all. In fact, it often means more interest across more products. Consolidation isn't bad, but it only works if behavior changes too. Otherwise, it's just a reset button on the same cycle. And cycles are exactly where banks make the most money. Fact 19. Fixed payments don't mean fixed costs. A fixed monthly payment sounds comforting, stable, predictable, no surprises. But that doesn't mean the total cost is fixed, because inflation, fees, and life changes all play a role. Let's say you lock in a payment today that feels fine. Fast forward a couple years, your expenses go up, your priorities change, maybe your income shifts. That same comfortable payment suddenly feels heavier, not because it changed, but because everything else did. It's like signing a long-term lease thinking this rent is totally manageable. Then groceries double, gas goes up, and suddenly that same rent hits differently. Banks present fixed payments as safety, and technically they are, but they don't mention how life around that payment keeps moving. So what felt easy at the start can quietly become a burden later. Not dramatic, just persistent. And that persistence is what keeps you locked in. Fact 20. The approval process is designed to feel like a win. Getting approved for a loan feels good. There's this moment of, nice, they trust me. It feels like validation, like you passed some kind of test. But here's the shift you don't notice. The bank didn't approve you because it's good for you. They approved you because it's profitable for them. They've calculated the risk. They've priced it in. They know exactly how much they expect to earn from you. So that feeling of winning, it's actually you entering a system where the outcome is already mapped. It's like a casino welcoming you in with free drinks. Feels great, friendly, inviting. But the system is still designed one way. Approval isn't a reward, it's an invitation. And once you accept it, you're playing by their rules. Not unfair rules, just very well-designed ones. Fact 21. You rarely see the opportunity cost. This is the quietest cost of all, and the one nobody talks about. When you commit to a loan, you're also committing future money you haven't earned yet. That monthly payment? It's money you won't be able to use elsewhere. Investing, traveling, starting something new, even just having peace of mind. It's like pre-spending a portion of your future before you even get there. And because it happens gradually, you don't feel the loss directly. You just feel slightly less flexible, slightly more cautious. Over time, that adds up, not just financially, but mentally. Because every decision starts to include, can I still afford my payments? Banks don't frame it this way. They focus on what you get now, but what you give up later. That part stays invisible. And sometimes that invisible cost is bigger than the loan itself. Fact 22. Introductory rates are just a temporary illusion. Banks love giving you a special offer at the beginning. Low interest. Friendly terms. Feels like you caught a deal. But that intro rate? It's not the real rate. It's the trial version. After a certain period, 6 months, a year, maybe 2, it quietly switches to the standard rate, which is usually much higher. And here's the part nobody emphasizes. By the time that happens, you're already locked in. It's like signing up for a streaming service for $1, then forgetting about it until it's suddenly charging you $14.99 every month. Except this time, it's not entertainment, it's your debt. Banks count on 2 things, you focusing on the short term and you getting comfortable. Because once something becomes part of your routine, you question it less. So that great deal you started with, it slowly transforms into something much more expensive. Not overnight, just gradually enough that you don't react. And that's the point. Because the easiest way to keep someone paying is to make the change feel normal. Fact 23. Collateral means you're betting more than you think. When a loan is secured, it sounds safe, responsible, lower interest, better terms. Seems like a smart move. But what they don't say clearly is this. You're putting something real on the line. Your car, your house, something you actually need. So now it's not just about money anymore. It's about consequences. Miss enough payments, and the bank doesn't just send reminders. They take the asset. And it doesn't happen in a dramatic movie scene. It's quiet, process-driven, legal. One day, everything feels normal. And then, suddenly, it's not yours anymore. It's like borrowing money and leaving your phone as collateral. Except instead of a phone, it's your home. Banks present this as reduced risk. For them. For you, it's increased pressure, because now every payment carries a little more weight. It's not just, I owe money. It's, I could lose something important. And that changes how the whole loan feels. Fact 24. Your income. Today is not guaranteed tomorrow. When you take a loan, everything is calculated based on your current situation, your job, your income, your stability. And in that moment, it all makes sense. But loans don't live in the present. They live in the future. And the future? It's unpredictable. Jobs change, markets shift, life happens. What felt comfortable today might feel tight or even stressful later. It's like committing to a gym membership thinking, of course I'll go every week. Then life gets busy, and suddenly you're paying for something you barely use. Except with a loan, you can't just cancel. Banks assume stability because they have to, but they don't carry the risk of your life changing. You do, and that's why loans feel easy at the beginning and heavier over time. Not because anything went wrong, but because life doesn't stay the same. Fact 25. You're encouraged to borrow more than you need. Ever notice how banks don't just approve you, they often approve you for more than you asked? You go in thinking, I need $10,000. They say, you're approved for $18,000. And suddenly that extra money feels tempting. Not necessary, not planned, just available. And availability is powerful. It's like going to the grocery store for milk and leaving with snacks, desserts, and something you don't even remember picking up. Because it was there. Banks know this. The more you borrow, the more interest they earn. So they don't push aggressively. They just open the door and let human nature do the rest. Because once the money is in your account, it's very easy to justify using it. It's just a little more. I might as well. I'll handle it. And just like that, your loan quietly grows beyond what you originally needed. Fact 26. Stress is an unspoken part of the deal. Nobody puts this in the contract, but it's real. Debt adds pressure. Not always loud, not always dramatic, but it's there. Every month, there's a deadline, a number, a responsibility you can't ignore. And even if you're managing fine, it sits in the back of your mind. It's like having a notification that never fully disappears. You can live with it. You can ignore it most days, but it's always there. Banks don't mention this part. They focus on numbers, rates, approvals. But the emotional side, that's yours to deal with. Because money isn't just math, it's also how you feel about it. And long-term payments can slowly change that feeling. Not in a big, obvious way, just enough to make things a little more tense than they used to be. Fact 27. The easiest loans are usually the most expensive. If getting a loan feels too easy, there's usually a reason. Quick approval, minimal checks, instant money. It feels convenient, fast, almost effortless. But convenience often comes at a price. Higher interest, extra fees, less favorable terms. Because the less the bank checks, the more risk they take. And the more risk they take, the more they charge you for it. It's like ordering fast food. Quick, easy, no waiting. But not exactly the best long-term choice. The same principle applies here. The loans that require more effort, documents, checks, time, are often cheaper. The ones that feel instant, those are usually the most expensive, because speed is part of the product, and you're paying for it. So if something feels too smooth, it's worth asking why. Because in banking, easy rarely means cheap. Still think loans are simple? Which hidden trick shocked you most?